Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and or nonprofits. And as always, some of this content may be adult in nature, so please use discretion while watching with your children. And then you hit M for merge. Good morning! Coming to you live from Acts Media Group headquarters here in the beautiful Springfield, Missouri. It's The Morning Drive with Matt and Jay with your hosts, Matt and Jay. We got Johnny Rooster in the house with us today. Probably wondering, why is he sitting there during this show? Because he's got a show coming up here in just a little bit. But I'll tell you why. It's because he's learning how to do this. So it's a real exciting time here. I always wait for the hook. Today's topic: love God with all your heart.
They can do this live, Johnny. Just like this.
Cool.
That would be a good show.
Yeah.
Imagine that live.
Yeah. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Morning Drive with Matt and Jay. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
Johnny Rooster.
Hey, Johnny.
We're glad to have everybody on board with us today. So,
Monday.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to bear with us because I'm going to be showing Johnny some things while we're on the air here today. So, Johnny, you can pick either one of these.
This is Learning Day on the air.
These are all 3.0 USBs. So I'm going to plug it into this one here so it doesn't.
Okay.
All right.
We went with Deuteronomy 6.
So this is this stuff right here. This is on the
Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy 6. We went with Deuteronomy 6 because it was the scripture of the day on the Bible Gateway, and we know a lot of you use that. And I've got to like and share this video, and I hope that you will too, because that really helps us. We are getting it ready. We've got it working.
And you can minimize this.
We just need to have some experience with it so that we can do it for you. But we are capable now.
If you're on the air.
And these are your dollars at work.
You can minimize this. Sorry.
We are capable now of bringing up a computer screen so we can navigate through to show you how to do things like Hooli Gives. We can show you how to do things like go to our website and drop down the menu to contribute, and where you can find a link to whatever it is you want it linked to. If you do make a contribution, we can make links to your events or your website where you sell your own products. So we're working on all of that, and this is going to be great. I'm so excited about it.
Let me find your file.
But like and share these videos is the way that you can really help us, because the more our audiences grow, the more we are able to make a difference in the lives of the people who tune in to watch. We are growing faster than we can handle it, really. We've got Johnny Rooster here. You can see him here today. He's going to be a new producer. He's already been a producer for us for a while, and he's doing great work. We're reaching out in every direction to bring interesting production to you.
Strange and unusual content.
Strange and unusual
but
content.
Wonderful too.
Fun.
Stuff you don't see anywhere else.
What was the snowball game?
Yeah, we did a snowball blowing contest.
It was
that's
fun.
That's the stuff you're not going to find
Now,
every
it
day.
was mature content. It was a lot of satire. It was so fun.
It wasn't raw, but
You
it
said that so
isn't
nicely.
little kid stuff. But
Yeah.
it's not graphic. It's
Innuendo. So if you're an adult and you
different.
want to have some fun entertainment
fun,
and you want
light
to be
stuff.
with Christian people, and you want to watch Christian people have a little bit of fun and maybe get a little risque, that's fun
See
too.
where snowballs don't melt.
Yes, snowballs that don't melt, and the blow pipes didn't work.
Yeah, but that's
They were
all,
too big.
That's a good teaser, though, Jay.
It was fun.
It helps them know that I want to see this, where the
You gotta
snowballs
see it.
don't melt.
Yes.
Now, snowball's chance.
Was there so you can go to our website. You can go to axmediagroup.com on your web browser, and you can browse down there, and you can see the Johnny Rooster shows. I mean, you cannot miss the logo. It's the Johnny Rooster shows, and I think that was last week. I'm not sure. This may have been a video that he was producing that hasn't actually come out yet. So look for it, wait for it. It's going to be fantastic. It was so much fun. He produced another video that I helped shoot some of the actual material for. And then he edited that, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. You got to see this show. Tune into the Johnny Rooster Show, which will be this Friday. It's also Wednesday. He's got a new spot on Wednesday.
I've got a picture of myself.
I'm still trying to like and share this show. and I hope that you will too. Please do. That
All
would
right,
help
so
us.
yeah, sorry about that, everybody.
So we took a little. We're going behind the scenes.
detour. I'm gonna leave this plugged in here for now,
Yeah.
Johnny, since it's
Okay.
not hurting anything.
So you got those 3.
I got those 3, and I believe we're still up and running. Yep, we're still going good.
You guys,
Now,
that we're just getting ready for the show that I'm doing, but it's different. Everything's going on fast around here.
Yes.
now check this out. So we are getting ready to get his show started up. We're merging our presets so that way we'll get your picture and all that stuff. So what you do right here, look, add input. All right. See, it's already on video, but if you want something done here, you have to click on that first. And I go over here to browse. Check this out.
Thank you all for sharing. I already see that some of them
All
are
right.
coming up as shared.
Rooster
Appreciate
File
that so
1.
much.
Rooster File 1 is where I put everything for you. So double click that. Okay, these are the ones right here.
So where I'm finding our audiences, which is you, is on Facebook. Now, right now, what I do is I go to YouTube, Axe Media Group on YouTube, and then I share the video from Axe
Click
Media
OK.
Group YouTube to Facebook. Then I go to Facebook and I like the videos that people are sharing, and then I go to Axe Media Group on Facebook and I watch it from there. And that's where I find all your comments, because that's where you're all watching right now. But we'd like to see more people migrate over to YouTube, because there's a couple of reasons for that. YouTube gives us great real-time information. It shows how many people are watching, the average time that they watch. We end up with a bar graph that shows how many people are watching at one time, when we lose somebody, when we gain somebody.
Talking about on YouTube?
YouTube, yes. So you could watch from YouTube, which would be so much fun for us. You could also, can you watch live from Axe Media Group?
I don't know if it's still doing that or not, but we're
Might
working
go
on
to-
that.
I'm going to check it out right now.
I think it requires Dennis to do something on his end. All right. So add input.
Okay.
Right, and I'll have you do this too.
There's
eventually.
Axe Media Group.
And then it's already on video. So then you go browse.
AxeMediaGroup.com. Come right up to the top of my
And-
browser when I searched it. I like that. There's the
Double click,
website.
and it's
Are
right
we
here.
live?
I just realized my
Okay.
artwork's over here, so I was going to stick it on that.
Okay, so now I've got
Axe TV.
I've got
in the
these on
drop-down
there
menu.
now because I've dropped them into your file. So now, of course, with any flash
We have
drive,
nothing live right now on the AxeTelevisionNetwork.com, but you still
it's
have the YouTube.
axemediagroup.com.
AxeMediaGroup.com is
Always
where.
safely remove.
Yeah. But I did the drop-down menu and went to Axe TV. And we don't have it there yet.
All right, you can put it on there now.
So I'm going to watch from YouTube today. I know I won't get comments. I won't get your comments. But and I'm going to go to this. Oh,
There's a
live chat.
There's a live chat on YouTube.
So I'm going to say good morning to whoever is watching. There's 2 of us
I
there
actually-
right
That'd be
now.
great.
I monitor all of my comments on Facebook from here.
Yes, so if we can
Yes.
monitor Facebook and YouTube,
Yeah.
that would be amazing.
Yes.
Now
it
Jay
would.
usually is monitoring YouTube more than I am.
I watch
because
both.
most.
We kind of have the idea that men get into YouTube and women get into Facebook, but
Yeah.
generally speaking.
Generally, yeah.
But yeah, we want to watch both.
And
Aunt
YouTube.
Patty. Hi, Aunt Patty.
So Facebook's proprietary. So whatever we produce on them, we can't share with some other platforms.
Yeah,
But
that's why
if
they've
we-
always got to be the
So
downstream.
we go to YouTube first, and that's why we'd like you to go to YouTube and watch, because you can go to the live chat and chat just like you normally do. It doesn't look the same, you know. You have to have an adjustment period to get used to it.
It's funny. Aunt Patty says, "You messed me up. Old people don't take to change quickly. Wrong places." Laugh out loud.
Slowly.
Becky
Right,
Green says, "Good morning, boys."
Good morning, Becky Green.
New
Steve
day, new
Schultz,
month.
Yes.
Pam Whining, Don McPherson. Welcome to the show. We're glad to have everybody on board with us today. Again, if you're wondering why we've got everything it's a little bit off today, because I was showing Johnny Rooster how to do some things. Not that Jay doesn't know how to do it, but for the sake
But
of
Jay
time.
doesn't know how to do it.
But for the sake of
Blame
time.
somebody.
Yeah.
Well, for the sake of time, I'm sitting here because he's got a show coming up next. And that's why he's sitting next to me. Usually, since he has a show coming up next, we won't have him on our show. But we wanted to get this done. Like right now, he's giving me an image that we want to add.
So to take that to the flash drive.
Yeah, you just, where's the flash drive?
It's already on there.
Can AxeMediaGroup.com
Yeah, okay, so I'm
be
already
a
good.
downstream
Safe
Thing?
to remove.
Can what?
Can we set it up as a downstream for Axe Media Group?
But I don't know. See, that's something that I have no idea about. The back page.
How
and all
ours
that stuff.
works, if we have
Because
a
if
stream
there's
key or...
If there's a player that does have a stream key, if it's one that this particular software will work with, it will work.
Oh, that would be great.
We have
a lot to
file
do.
was named Morning Mouth instead of Rooster, so that's what threw me off.
Well, because you are the morning. But
I know, it's all ready to go, and I didn't realize it was labeled that way.
Okay, so
Back to
another
you.
issue, we are running way over budget. We have
Like
way
the
more
US
expenses.
government.
So we have people who make up the difference somehow, and I don't know how, and I'm so grateful to them. But it would be nice to bring some of the burden off of them, because they're really making it happen, and we wouldn't be here today without them, because they're doing so much behind the scenes that I'm not even aware, and I know that it's expensive because I couldn't rent this place.
Aren't there ways people can make a contribution to be part of this?
There are. AxeMediaGroup.com. You can make a contribution there. You can go to Northwest Baptist Church, see me and Matt in person on Sunday mornings, and you could just give us a check in person there. And Northwest Baptist Church, I assure you, is a really great church. You can be put to work right away if you're looking for a way to serve the Lord. You can come and just listen to the sermons. Our pastor is going to motivate you. You will be challenged. If you don't want to be challenged, don't come to Northwest Baptist Church. If you don't want to be challenged and pushed into service to bring the church to relevance again today, then you probably don't want to go there. Or if you're already busy and you don't have the time to get involved with a bunch of church stuff, you may not. You should still come and enjoy and learn from the services.
What time is that?
That's from 10:45
Is that
Sunday
when you have
morning.
10:45. Yeah.
10:45 Sunday
Where is it
morning.
located?
It's at Northwest Baptist Church on Norton Road, right next to the Humane Society.
Right.
Now, there's two churches out there on Norton Road. There's a big one I can't remember the name of, and I wouldn't want to mention it anyway. But there's Northwest Baptist Church, and we are actually neighbors to the Humane Society. There's only one of us. Find us there. We'd love to see you. And you don't even have to make a contribution or bring a check for Axe Media Group or for Northwest Baptist. You can come and just shake hands with us and see us. Though we're pretty busy Sunday.
That is basically a short video. So you'll have to have it. I'm sorry, but this is more learning here.
More learning.
And I thank you, Jay, for all you're doing.
Talk to the people.
So I went to Bible Gateway this
you'll have to
morning.
have a video.
And the scripture for the day was, let me go back to it. It was Deuteronomy 6:4-5. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Sorry for struggling a little bit there with the wording. But I like to read a little bit more because oftentimes I like the context of why this was being taught. So it's Deuteronomy 6, the greatest commandment. And Jesus spoke about this commandment, and he had put it into his own words because he is the Word. And this was someone other than he speaking here, but this is Deuteronomy 6. Now this is the commandment, and these are the statutes and judgments which the Lord your God has commanded to teach you, that you may observe them in the land which you are crossing over to possess. So here's where Israel is in the desert. They're headed for the promised land after they had been released from Egypt. That verse 2, that you may fear the Lord your God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which we learned on Penny for Your Thoughts, another great show that we produce, which is on Thursdays.
Which one?
Penny for Your Thoughts.
That's on Thursdays.
Now, they were talking about the law. There's the Torah, I suppose, which is the law given to God by God directly to Moses that he wrote down and gave to the people. And then there was man's law, laws that men added to it, and they were part of or more detailed law written into and those are very different. One is directly from God, and one is written by man for man. One is for God, one is for man from God, and one is for man from man.
So the law from man for man, what is that one? Where is that one?
That's it's like extracurricular.
Is there an example of one of those?
A lot of them.
Okay.
Which I'm learning it now.
Okay.
So this last week I had learned that.
I just wanted to know
and-
if there's an example of how one man's law versus one from God for man.
Yes, there is a difference. It's like, it's like people challenge laws about needing to have plates on your car and stuff like that. We have a right and a freedom.
Oh, okay. You're talking about that.
Yeah, so
Okay,
there was a lot
gotcha.
of that in the Bible as well.
Okay.
Where things were added to
Yeah.
because certain things came up. There weren't always cars.
Yeah.
But then people drove around with no brakes.
So that's why they had safety laws. Put in place.
Yes, and
Inspections.
yeah, and now you have to, because if you don't, and see, and that's another thing about the law, is it's supposed to teach you something. It's supposed to tell you, do this, and it's not it's because they don't
Hi,
want
Laura.
the consequence of your actions to
Right.
be paid for by everyone around you.
Right.
They want you to pay your own way, to be responsible for your own thing. And as young people growing up, we need to be taught, because we're not aware. All of a sudden you're driving and you have no brakes. That's how it works for
Right.
young people,
Yeah.
right? All of a sudden you have a blowout on the highway because you have tires with 150,000 miles on them.
I remember one time I'd get retreads for $10, $12
Yeah,
back
yeah.
in the day, and I'd just put another one on and then blow and then get it, change it, do it again.
Yeah.
It was rather than
They outlawed that.
I
They
mean,
don't
all
use
of
them
the
for cars
danger
anymore.
involved didn't matter. It was just $10 or $12. That's
Yeah,
all that
that's
mattered.
all that
No, I
matters.
think retreads should be allowed on the rear tires. That's okay.
I
Not
I
on the-
don't, because if they come off and they're not maintained properly, they will fly off and hit somebody else's windshield. And that's why I think it's a
for
bad
you
idea.
younger people, they put the outside.
We have retreads
stuck
on
it back on
professional.
an old tire, and
Yeah.
they'd put a newer tread on an old tire, and it
We
would
have
blow
retreads
out
on our
because
trailers.
It
They
gets
glue it
so
on.
hot. They glue it on, but it gets
Yeah.
so hot on the highway. Bam! I'd hear
We-
this eruption.
We have retreads on our trailers.
Right. Now, do you want to see
okay.
more of that, though?
They're
Do
certified.
you want to see more of those things on the side of the road or flying off a
right.
vehicle
They call
right in
them
the middle of your lane?
alligators. Those,
They
don't
call
want
them
that.
gators. Yeah,
yeah,
they
the
call-
gators.
And there's a reason they outlawed it, because they found by experience that you'll get somebody who doesn't really know how to properly adhere it to the tire where it's going to be safe, and they learned through experience. The reason why it used to be legal and is no longer is because they were all over the road. They were flying through people's
Yeah,
windshields.
it's like,
they
look
were
out,
smacking
gator.
up against the side of people's cars, and that's dangerous. And they said, okay, the general population is not responsible enough to maintain them properly, because if you're running retreads, you have to be very careful about your tire pressure. So, but that's the law, right?
That's the
And
law.
The
That's
law
why.
isn't. So the law isn't just to show us. So I used to say about the law is that the law isn't to show us how to be righteous. It's to show us that
That
we
we're
can't
not.
be.
Yeah.
That we can't be. It's not to show us how to be righteous. It's to show us that we can't be. So these laws show us that we are, in general, there are many among us, and we ourselves are not responsible enough to keep track of and manage and maintain all of these things, growing up with no knowledge of why. So that's where it comes to when you hear the old saying, don't ask me why, just do it.
Yeah. Do as I
Right.
do, not as I say.
Because if you had to explain every reason for every
Do as I say, not as I do.
yeah. If you had to explain every single reason for every single thing you try to teach, kids wouldn't learn fast enough to be prepared for their own
Yeah,
age.
right.
You know what I mean? They'd get
Their-
out of
their
high
natural
school and they would not be
curiosity.
prepared.
Man,
Yeah.
it's taking me till I was 40.
And I'm still learning.
Sometimes you
And I'm
gotta keep
horrible at
learning.
managing my stuff.
39, actually.
Well, a lot
You
of
know.
people learn the hard way, as they say. There's probably examples in this room of how we all learned something not to do it again, but
Yeah.
we had a lot of suffering to get there.
Yeah. Like I moved 3 times this year.
It's a
So
lot of
can you
moving.
imagine all of my
You just keep
mail
things
that's
in
going to
boxes?
3 addresses this year now, right?
Yeah.
And managing that, and you get this thing where you do a mail forwarding, right? A mail address change with the
Right.
U.S. mail. Well, that doesn't tell everybody that you moved.
Yes.
That just tells the post office that stuff that is addressed to you here
Yes.
is now supposed to go here, so they reroute it. But it still comes with the old address on it.
Right.
And so you're supposed to tell the people that sent that to you that you moved your address.
Right.
So they don't have to keep sending it to the post office to sort out. They can just send it to the right address.
Right.
There's so many things like that
But
it's
you're
so hard to
saying
manage.
with the moving, is that because of management or is that just because of circumstances, though? You had to move 3 times, and we were talking about how we learned things the hard way.
It was a progression of circumstances and decisions that I made out of my service that I try to do for God. I know that God had His purpose in it, and so I moved out. I had my father's home after my father passed away, and I ended up having to let that go and give that back to the bank. It wasn't because I couldn't afford the mortgage, because I could, but it was because of some dirty thing that insurance companies do with the state. So somebody gets sick, and instead of the insurance company kicking in and taking care of things, they say, "Oh, well, you missed a premium payment, so now we're not insuring you." And then they pass that on to the state, right? So they pass that on to the state. Well, then they get out of paying the bill. The state pays the bill, and then the state says, "Well, we're not your insurance company, so you got to pay us back." So they put liens on the house. It ended up being like $70,000 worth of liens for my father, where we took care of him at home. That was us taking care of him at home.
Right.
We were doing the work.
That's it.
And it cost us $70,000 that they attached to his mortgage without telling us.
Yeah.
We just all of a sudden found out $70,000. And so I was like, I can pay for this house. There's no guarantee that it'll even be mine at the end, and I'll have a $70,000 bill to pay after I'm done paying the house off. And I felt like it was better for me to give it back to the bank where they could actually, and I couldn't afford to keep it up. It's expensive to keep up a house.
It is an old house.
And it was an old house, an aging house. It had a 20-year-old roof, so the insurance company sent me a letter and said, "We can't insure this." And I thought, I can't do this. I can't pay for this roof. I can pay the mortgage. I can pay the utility bill. I can mow the lawn, but I can't repair all this stuff that's getting old. And so I had let the bank have it because I knew that they could get it into the hands of somebody that would be able to afford to take care of it, or they would be able to do the repairs and put it onto the loan, and that the house wouldn't just continue to dilapidate. And then that way also the debt that was the lien on the house from the state would come off. So I thought it was better for the house and for everybody to let it go. And so I did. And then I ended up moving to a prison release ministry, which is an incredible experience, very difficult. When you commit some work to the Lord like that, where you move in and you're all in, so your residence is the ministry that you're working in.
Morning, buddy.
The people are coming out of prison, and these men have been in trouble most of the time. They've been in trouble their whole lives. They have all kinds of extracurricular legal issues that the normal citizen doesn't have, and they have less rights than a normal citizen has.
Morning, Stacy.
It's difficult to acclimate into the world,
Yeah.
and it's difficult to how do you get out of prison one day and make 2 months down on an apartment?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you do have somebody that's getting out at the same time, now you've got that influence of you've spent your life making decisions about how you're going to handle issues a certain way that got you to prison in the first place. And so, like when I broke my back, I was always a laborer. Got kicked out of school in the 9th grade, and I got pushed through to the 9th grade to get there. I didn't pass the classes. I can tell you that. I had a certain way of handling issues, which was you work more, you make more money. You get home, you work on the house, you work on this, you work on that, you work on the car. Well, then I broke my back, and all of a sudden, all of the answers that I have aren't going to work.
Right.
Well, these men are getting out of prison, and all the answers that they have are not going to work for them unless they want to go right back to the same
Morning,
thing,
Stacy.
being locked up. So you try to intervene there. You try to be there when you see the struggle coming up. You try to encourage them in the Word of God, and that they have somebody holding them accountable who's with them all the time. And that this is a good God and a good Father, and He has a way, and it's difficult, and that we will help them. That they have a place that's expensive to live, that we have people who own businesses who are willing to give them a job and try and offer them a hand up.
Yeah.
And this was a really great ministry to be involved with, and I'm so glad that I went. And there was such another tragedy to start it all off that my giving up the house just came out at the right time, that this tragedy happened, and I was able to go and be there for somebody, to be there for people.
Excellent.
And in the name of God. So I was able to do that, but it also was so difficult for me that I was starting to not be a good servant of God, that I was being resentful, and it became difficult. So I left there. That's why I left that second address, moved in with Matt, and then we moved in with Barney. So it ended up being actually 4 addresses in the same year, 3 times moving.
And 2 of them moving because of tragedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
3. All 3.
When tragedy strikes, loving God with all your heart, how does that look?
It's knowing that he's a good father and that there is a reason for everything. That these struggles and problems that we face that might be heartbreaking and tragic to us at the time are in some way in the future going to be equipment that we have to help somebody else going through the same thing or something like it, or that we are prepared for new struggles that will come in our life, new tragedies that come. We are better understanding and better prepared for our own and other people's to help them and coach them through what they're going through, being mindful of the Lord and loving him because he is a good God and he is a good father.
The reminder that you got new things coming, that's not an easy one to realize, but if you know in advance that you love the Lord your God completely, when you love God more completely, you love him with all your heart, that means you're giving your emotions to God. And I didn't yesterday. Honestly, I had a meltdown because I had a situation I didn't want. I didn't see the resolution. So that's when you don't love God fully enough to give him all your heart. That's why your emotions are anger, frustration, even bitterness or depression.
Resentment.
Yes, and those things get in the way of true love for God. Now, if we go back to loving God completely with all our heart, then you don't have that residual bitterness, resentment, rage, meltdown, whatever you want to say, because the love is so strong that you rely in the love. There's the trust that goes with that, and you accept God's presence without giving up. Yeah. That's the difference. Yeah, the situation could be dark, but you are not giving up because you know that you love God enough to hold you during the storm.
Right.
Even if it doesn't feel better.
No.
It may not feel good.
Yeah, you're
Loving
still
God
on the water.
can still make you cry, but you're not bitter, frustrated, and resentful. That's the difference. Your emotion could be sorrow, but not resentment. It's a big difference.
Yeah, and it can oftentimes look the same.
Yes,
somebody
it
can
doesn't
say,
always make it better.
I hear people say
Stacey.
Forgiveness is for the person who does the forgiving. It's for both.
Yeah.
And it's for God as well, because he demands that of us. He says, if you want me to forgive you, you have to forgive others. So letting those things go isn't always it's not just a way. There are different ways you can do it. You can do it in the worldly way without God.
Pastor Paul
and it can
says,
look a lot alike.
Love is a choice. Our emotions won't work.
Right. But the result can be much different. A lot of people will say, I'll forgive you, but I won't forget. And they hold on to that resentment.
Is that real forgiveness?
No, that's
not. That's not forgiveness.
That's like saying, I'm going to tell you I'm forgiving you, but I'm not really.
On paper, or just to resolve this, but it's not resolved.
It gets pretty complicated because we're not to throw our pearls to swine. So there are different contexts to how we forgive and how we act.
Forgiveness doesn't mean you're good with the wrong.
Right.
It means that you allow that other person to have committed the wrong and you don't hold them responsible for that action anymore.
Right. But when somebody says, if you won't let me do this to you again, then you really don't forgive me.
That's right.
And they use that as a guilt trip.
Yeah.
They say,
It's
if you really forgave me, you'd let me move into your house, trash all your stuff, take all your money, steal everything of value.
I had an ex-wife that said that one time. It's just
that's not forgiveness.
Or you don't forgive me.
Yeah,
well, that's not true.
Forgiveness.
She's like, whatever happened to forgive and forget?
Yeah.
And that just means, you want to...
now, God gives us the ability to gain wisdom from our past.
Yes.
And use it to glorify Him.
Yes.
Whether it be, this is where I was and this is where I am. Or, you know what I'm talking about.
No, say it.
Like, Well, I had a good thought process going there, but my brain just kind of.
Because we were talking about
Well,
forgiveness doesn't mean that you let somebody steal from you.
Right.
You know.
And they say, well, and I had somebody sitting in the car next to me and was like, I think we should get back together, da-da-da-da-da. This was years and years ago.
Yeah.
And I said, no. Well, whatever happened, she tried to use my Christianity to her benefit, someone who spurned God all the time and referred to us as holier than thou.
Mm.
And, well, I thought you were supposed to forgive and forget. I said, I do forgive you. But I'm not going to put myself in that situation again to where it can happen again.
Right.
But they do. They people have used that. I've even had a guy come up and ask me for a ride. He goes, "Can I impose on your Christianity?"
Hmm.
And it didn't. I mean, I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not? I'll give you a ride." But then, I'm like, wow. It's really hard to understand people sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's hard enough to understand ourselves.
I saw it as an opportunity since he knew I was a Christian.
Maybe he's
and he was imposing on my Christianity. I figured I would impose my Christianity on him
Yes.
while I'm taking him where he needs to go.
And perhaps he doesn't know the value of how you say things.
Yeah, well, some people...
some people just don't understand where their words are really important.
They are.
And that's where we come up to love. Like, how do we love
Fully.
our neighbor as ourselves?
Remember how you love yourself is
you
take care of your own personal needs first. And loving your neighbor by taking care of their personal needs is really inconvenient until you love God with all your heart.
And then
He puts it in perspective for this is when you do this. Because God
then you feel good about it because you know that's what God wants you to do. And you fulfill. And being an answer to a prayer, even though a lot of times I bet you're an answer to a prayer and you don't even realize it.
God gives you that wisdom to know when and how to respond to people in love. And
sometimes
if you love them, you've got to really be firm.
It doesn't feel good.
No.
Love doesn't always feel good.
No.
Look at what Jesus did. You think he felt good on the cross? I think it was a mixture of feelings.
Yeah, no, I think it was knowing that he is serving mankind is the only part that felt good about that.
He was
that he was
providing
saving
salvation
mankind.
To mankind for his Father's sake, because
and
his
the fact
Father
that
loves
he
us.
was willingly, I love how whenever he said, "They can't take from me that which I give willingly." I love that because I know, would I be willing to do that? Would I be willing to give my body, my flesh, and every drop of blood I have for mankind? I'd like to think God would move my heart to be able to do so, but I doubt it.
But it compels us to action. It does. Look at what we're doing. How much do we benefit from this? We are doing this because we love God, and this is something we feel is important, and it's not a loss.
Right.
It's not a burden. Though it is, it's something we are compelled to do. We're like we got to come here, and we got to come here and do this work that we're doing for the Lord because we love Him and we love the people watching, we love the people listening. We hope to reach those who wouldn't otherwise.
You know why you guys come in every day? Because of love.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. We love. I love each and every person that's watching right now, and the people that will be watching later.
You know how you've got attached to the
Even
people
the ones
that
that
are
don't like
regular viewers?
How?
Isn't that interesting how you have a connection with them even when they're not in this room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got the regular people that are watching. We also love the people that jump in and they don't know what it is.
Yeah, we don't have a fourth wall here. You know what I'm talking about?
You're right there, sitting on the fourth wall, watching us.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
The acting
you are the fourth wall.
In the acting world,
that's called the fourth wall.
It's where the audience is.
You're not supposed to break the fourth wall.
Right.
Why would love for the Lord include statutes and rules?
If there's no rules, is there really love? If we're just running on our own?
That's why I had someone ask me once, and I've asked that question too myself, just wondering. If God wanted us all to be with Him, why did He put the tree there in the first place? But then I got to thinking, if my friends or family loved me because they had no other choice, that's not love. That is servitude. That is that the choice. And I asked God one time, I was like, God, why do you love us more than any of your other endeavors.
Why are we
I felt the words. I didn't hear it audibly, but I felt the words come into my heart. Because you can choose to love me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
An animal doesn't have that same reasoning.
Right.
But a human being can choose to love or to reject.
Yes.
And God loves us so much, He allows us to do that. And most people at some point openly reject Him. They do in their mind or their attitude. And it's got to be heartbreaking.
I've been that way. Have you had somebody ever genuinely like you and want to engage with you and be around you, and you can soak it in for a minute?
Yeah.
But then after a while, it's like, well, and then you kind of do this. You're like, okay, wait a minute, and it's not because anything's really wrong. It's just you don't even know what to do with it.
Right.
You don't even know their motive or whatever it is,
or
and you question this or that.
You start thinking, like, they're got to be playing some kind of angle here.
Yeah. I mean, I run into
what do they want?
I run to at work all the time. I get to know my customers a little bit better and a little bit better each time I see them, and then we kind of make a connection, and we're kind of friendly with each other, and it's all, and they come in the door, and we're waving at each other because we know who each other is.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, there's just kind of an awkward moment where you're like, well, now where does it go from here?
Yeah.
You know how and then that almost causes disconnect, or somebody's hurt by it.
Yeah.
But I've always been that way, and it's difficult for me to get past a certain point with people. To be friends and open and engaged. And I can tell you everything about myself, but still not to grow that connection, and I don't really know how to. I'm learning, and I'm getting better at it, but it's difficult. And I think people sense it at a certain point, and they're like, well, wait a minute. Now, what was all this friendliness that we had, experienced with you a little while ago, and now all of a sudden it's not so friendly, or you're ignoring me, or you don't, have any response. We're out of here.
When you know somebody, you love somebody, and when you know God, you're going to love Him.
Yeah.
You got to understand Him. Just keep listening,
and you have to make a choice and work at it.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that we're cutting it at 20 till instead of 10 till now.
Hang on for the 9 o'clock one, though.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Morning Mouth with Johnny Rooster and Amber coming up.
All right, so I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on the Morning Drive today. We'll be back on tomorrow, same time, same channel. Be sure and tune in next for the Morning Mouth with Johnny Rooster. It's going to be a lot of fun, followed by Brighter Living Live with Steve Mickey Mac McAllister. And he's got a guest with him today as well. So, until then, my friends, may God bless you and keep you. We love you. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
Johnny Rooster.
And this has been
The Morning Drive.